Stephanie, this is Making Poor Decisions, and today we are racking our basic mead into secondary. Okay, so today we are going to be racking our basic mead into secondary. Basically, we are taking it off of the lees or the dead yeast that have floated down to the bottom of the container, putting it into a new container to age for a few weeks before we bottle. And for this, we are going to need our graduated cylinder and hydrometer, kind of optional, but we want to test our gravity to see where the alcohol content is or approximately is. 2 Glencairn glasses, again, pretty optional, but we're going to want to taste our mead to see, number one, if we like it or if it's going to need anything additional, like some additional sweeteners or something else to balance out the flavor before we put it to age. We're also going to need a new airlock and bung to seal it up, everything nice and fresh. A brewer's baster to get our mead into our hydrometer and graduated cylinder, as well as an auto siphon. Just makes everything nice and easy. And of course, everything has been sanitized in our hot water and star san in this little bucket here. Please make sure you sanitize everything before you use it, or else it's a very good chance you're going to ruin your brew. So with that getting out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. And this is the most exciting part for me, because it's like the first sniffs after it's been sealed. This has been going for about 3 weeks, and yeah, it smells like mead. Now, just a reminder, this is a really simple recipe. 3 pounds of honey, some tangerine peels, some black tea for tannins, spring water, and yeast. That's pretty much it. It's as easy as it possibly gets. And what I'm going to do now is put some of this in here. We're going to test our gravity. And then we get to taste it. And hopefully I won't make a mess. I'm getting pretty good at this. You might actually notice that the graduated cylinder that I'm using in this video is a little bit bigger than the ones in my first few videos. And that's because when I first started doing this, I got a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder, and it was fine for getting the starting gravity or initial gravity or original gravity, whatever you want to call it. But then when I went to test the ABV, I noticed that the cylinder that I had, the 100 milliliter cylinder, wasn't big enough to capture the readings. And that's because most of the meads I make are very dry. I prefer dry meads to sweet meads. And I couldn't get the hydrometer to float. So I bit the bullet and I got a 250 milliliter hydrometer. Do I have liftoff? I'll put a little bit more in there. I got a 250 milliliter hydrometer. And now I'm able to get readings for all of my brews, be they sweet, semi-sweet, or dry. And this has to float now. There we go, I have liftoff. Perfect. Put this back in my hot water with star san. There we go. And let's take a reading. Okay. Oh, she's dry. And I'm going to say this is, 0.999 maybe? No, 1. It's at a 1. And I'm going to have to take a look to see what my original gravity was on this. I will put the calculation and the actual ABV somewhere in this-ish area. But she's at a 1, which means she's dry, which I pretty much expected. I make most of my meads to be dry. Put this back in the water. And now the fun part, we get to taste it. I have 2 glasses here because I will be pouring one for my off-screen assistant, as he is so kind to help me with all of this. Maybe one day he'll be an on-screen assistant and you'll get to meet him. But let's do an initial sniff. So I like these Glencairn glasses. They're originally made for whiskey, so they concentrate all the smells that come up through the top of this glass here. and they concentrate the taste as well. So on the nose, I'm almost getting vanilla, which is weird. I don't know how to pronounce this properly. I can't even pronounce properly. But I used, it's Tulepo, I'm not too sure. Again, I'll put the name of the honey I used up here, and I've never used that before. I'm wondering if that's it, but it almost smells like vanilla extract, which I'm really excited about. Let's do a taste. Yeah, oh, there's alcohol in this. It's young. I mean, it's 3 weeks old, so the alcohol is going to be really prevalent. And honestly, I know it was at a 1 reading, but it still tastes kind of sweet. I like it. It's good. I mean, it has some aging to do. Alcohol taste is pretty prominent right now, but it's good. And I'm excited to taste this in another 2 or 3 weeks when I'm getting ready to bottle it to see what it does. But I'm actually really excited for this mead. Like, yeah, it tastes like vanilla, which is baffling to me. There's no vanilla in this at all. I'll have my lovely assistant give me his notes on this as well, but so far so good. All right, let's rack it. I'm not going to add anything else to this. I'm actually really, really happy with how this came out. And please don't yell at me for this. I know some people will be like, oh no, you're aerating it. It's fine. I'm just doing it nice and slow. Put this in here because it's really good. And I don't want to waste any of it. And you're also probably going to see, oh my gosh, there's bubbles in there. Yeah, star sand, perfectly fine. It's not going to hurt your brew or anything like that. Awesome. Look at that later. All right, so this is my auto siphon. I'm leaving the cap on. Putting it in here, and then put the bottom of it in here. And this is just how auto siphons work. The full container needs to be higher than the bottom container because gravity and science, pretty much. Now what we do, we give it a nice pump. And what you should be seeing, there we go, put that back on the bottom. And this is what we do. Hi, hello, how are you? I'm gonna give this a few minutes to go from here to here, and I'll be right back. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now, I did go back and check my notes from the starting gravity, and it was 1.11, and I got an approximate reading of about 1 right now, which is putting this ABV at somewhere around 14.44%, and I just put the airlock on it, and it's actually bubbling up. I can see some fermentation bubbles coming, or it could be degassing as well, but it's only, this airlock's only been on for like maybe a minute, and you can already see some of the bubbles starting to come up. So I'll have to take another gravity reading right before I bottle. I let this go for about 3 weeks, expecting it to be done, and it wasn't done. Normally when I do this, right at around the 2-week mark, I have some clarity. There's neutral pressure in the airlock. I could see some bubbles coming up now, and this was 3 weeks. I'm like, it has to be done, right? You know, the bubbles weren't really coming up all that much. I didn't really see too much activity coming up here. So I thought for sure this was going to be over, but apparently she's not. I might even get a little bit more of a stronger brew after this is done. I'm going to let it sit for another 2 or 3 weeks, let her clarify, let her get done with, oh my gosh, she's still really active. And this can happen sometimes too when you put this from primary into secondary. Sometimes some active yeast can kick up, will be transferred over, they'll find some sugar that they didn't find before, and you're going to get some more fermentation, which is, I think, already happening right now. Oh my gosh, that is active. So we're going to see what happens in a few weeks. You can see here I didn't really have too much that I had to discard. There's the tangerine peels in the bottom here, and this like milky kind of gross looking stuff called lees. That's left at the bottom. So I'm actually really happy with the amount of waste that I have. It's really not that much. But I definitely have some active yeasty beasties in here. So let's see what happens in a few weeks. Check back with me again. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like. And if you like me, please like me. Give me a subscribe. And we'll see you back next time. Thank you again so much and happy brewing.